think he was trying to make things right.
Make things right? It was too late for that.
I know it hurt you. I do. I get it, and I'm sorry. But I don't think you should be standing here in my father's house and dragging his name through the mud when he's not here to defend himself.
What he did was indefensible. And I, for one, don't know how you can stand there waxing sentimental about it.
Because he was my father.
So was I, damn it!
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I'll be doing another episode recap. Today's Daysofourlives, July 18, 2024. It was an awesome episode, 9 out of 10 for me. So let's get into it, right? So we see Leo here. He's trying to find content for his column, right? His gossip column. And I know a lot of us are content creators and sometimes we need to brainstorm new content, fresh content that's engaging for you guys, right? So he's just there trying to see what's the most interesting thing that he can come up with, right? So then he receives a knock at the door. So it's Miss Bonnie, right? So Bonnie comes in and like, lady whistleblower, I got tea for you. So he's like, tea, what you have? So she's like, saying that there's a double wedding happening tonight, right? He's like, double wedding, what's so interesting about them? She's like, you know how double weddings are sometimes. I mean, you had a double wedding back in the day, and that was the wedding between Xander and Gwen and him and Craig, right? Which went down in one of the messiest double weddings of soap history, right? With the drag queen, right? So anyway, he said he doesn't like to be reminded about that. He's working on himself. He's doing better in therapy. So anyway, she mentioned the fact that Teresa might be marrying Alex for his money. So he's like, I knew it, I had an idea that she's like that, right? And I really like her because she reminds me of my best friend who we really don't talk anymore because of, so and so, right? So she's like, I'm sorry to hear that. So anyways, he's like, I need more juicier content because this is not it, right? So she's like, there may be a guest coming through. And he's like, what guest? So she mentioned that Xander's mom may or may not be coming because she took the envelope out of the garbage can that is supposed to go to Xander's mom, but Teresa carelessly disposed of it and Bonnie ended up finding it, right? So Bonnie mailed it off. So we may be seeing Xander's mom tomorrow. I am excited. It's gonna go down again. So let's go to the next scene, right? So we see Xander working out, and this is always a lovely sight. So I was like Sarah too, like, wow, he fine. Don't let my husband hear this. But anyways, yeah, so she was excited to see him, of course. And, she's like, oh, what is this for? He's like, I'm preparing for our wedding tonight, just staying in shape. And, they embrace and they're happy about getting married again to each other. And she was like, I hope you're not really upset about us having a double wedding with Alex and Teresa. And he's like, if I had it my way, I wouldn't want it, but I'm just happy I get to marry to you, right? So they're okay about it. They hope that it will bring the family together. And then she's looking over the wedding list and she notices that she didn't go through them, right? So he's like, did my mom RSVP? And she said no, she don't hear anything from his mom. So he's like, he's not surprised, probably should have just ruined it with her alcoholic habits, right? So he is like, so about it, and maybe it would have been for the worse. So they made peace with that, right? So we move on to the next scene, right? So we see Alex, he was on the phone call with some business person, right? Talking about the business perspectives. And, he said he's got to get ready for the wedding, right? So we see Justin come in, right? There's a knock at the door and Justin comes in and Justin is like, how are you feeling? Everything good. So he also mentioned that Maggie would be the officiant over Sarah and Xander's wedding. So he wanted to just help with, since it's a double wedding, he wanted to be the officiant for Teresa and Alex's wedding. So Alex was a bit skeptical because of Justin's reservations towards Teresa, right? But Justin is like, she signed the prenup. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you guys. And I would be honored to just be a part of your big day. So Alex was still, hesitant about it. He still doesn't trust Justin and all of that. And especially the fiasco that happened between Constantine and Maggie on their big day and him blurting out something. So he thinks that Justin has some ulterior motive and probably want to reveal that Teresa, is after Alex for his money and all of that at the wedding. So he's like, what do you think? What do you take me for? Like, I'm not going to do that. I just want to be a part of your big day. So Alex apologizes as usual. And he says, you know what? I would really appreciate if you're there for me, right? So Justin said, okay, let me get my script together. So Alex says that he had to confirm with Teresa to see if Teresa would be okay with Justin officiated, right? So that's where we leave them, right? So we continue with a conversation from yesterday's episode between Brady and Teresa, right? And Brady is telling Teresa that, it's kind of late in the game to call for Tate to come to her wedding, right? She's like, oh, I can send the private jet over there. And he's like, really? It's gonna take a while for the jet to fuel and go back, and it's not gonna reach back in time for the wedding, and that's New York, right? There she was considering all options, direct flights, like the quickest thing to get him there, and it just wouldn't be practical, right? So he just reminded her about that, and she's like, I guess you're right? Then she continues to blame Holly for that, because she said if Holly didn't do what she do, Tate would be here, right? So he's like, I'm with Brady on this. Like, Brady's like, it's not just Holly's fault. Tate also lied to us, right? And Holly's a kid. And she is like, I know girls like Holly that just, sink their clutches into innocent guys and make them do what they want to do. And he's like, oh, kind of like you. I'm like the pot calling the kettle black at this point, because Teresa, you not no different than Holly at this point, and you older, you more mature than that, right? But anyways, still blames Holly. But anyways, they started talking about each other's wedding when they had that ceremony in Las Vegas, and the time they had it in the bedroom, and they just started to reminisce about that. And she was about to tell him something until they were abruptly interrupted by Alex. So we see that in the next scene later on, right? So we see Tate and Holly from yesterday's episode. They're at the Horton cabin having alone time, and then a knock is at the door. It's Sophia. So Holly lets her in, and Sophia is like, I thought it was gonna be hard to find the Horton cabin, right? But it was easy. So they're like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I overheard you guys talking on the 4th of July, and they're like, you were stalking us? She's like, I heard about what you did, and you sent Aaron off to lacrosse camp. This is not no lacrosse camp, right? Your parents would be very surprised to find you guys here, right? So she started to gloat about how she was going to tell Teresa about them being here. However, she found out that Teresa is getting married tonight, and Tate was surprised because he knew they were engaged, but he didn't know they were getting married tonight. So she was like, yeah. And I'm planning to tell Teresa the next day after a wedding. So they're like, no, we'll do anything. And at first Holly was like, how could you do this to me? Like, you're my best friend. And then Sophia's like, well, it doesn't matter anymore because you knew I was into Tate and you still went along and played with me. So like, I'm going to like make sure that you suffer. She's just in this vindictive mood. So Holly's like, I'm willing to do anything at this point, don't tell them. So Sophia's like, my parents want me to work at Stefan's restaurant. However, I really don't want to do this. So you'll be working in my place, just like how Tate sent off Aaron. You would be working in my place and I will be collecting the check, right? So Holly is gonna be working at the restaurant and Sophia will be getting the money. But I don't know, this Sophia, I really am not digging this Sophia girl at all. Like, it's not that deep, right? It's just high school. But anyways, let's move on, right? So we go back to this scene where Brady and Teresa are in the living room, and Teresa is about to tell Brady something important. Maybe it's about her feelings for him. However, Alex came in and abruptly interrupt them, and he's like, aren't you supposed to be getting ready for the wedding? And she's like, yeah, but I just wanted to tell Brady how happy I was that he's coming to the wedding. He's Tate's father and all. So Brady says, I will see you guys later, right? So he leaves and leave them to talk, right? So Alex wanted to run something by Teresa, which is, if she'd be okay with Justin officiating the wedding. And she's like, okay, yes, I'm fine. And he's like, I know that he came down hard on you about the prenup. And she's like, yeah, and you learned your lesson about letting me know firsthand, right? So he's like, yeah, I just want to be the best husband that you deserve. And I'm just happy to be married to you and spending the rest of my life with you. And she's like, me too. And, at this point, she's faking it. But Alex is just too lovesick and blind to notice that she's really not that into you, right? And it's so funny because Alex, when he first came, he's a playboy and he just really didn't want to commit, and now look at him, he's getting played right in front of his eyes. Well, let's see this train wreck of a wedding tomorrow, guys. So we see Sarah and Xander, right, and they're talking, and then there's a knock at the door. It's Teresa. There's no love lost between Teresa and Xander, right? So Teresa comes in and Xander is like, well, and she's like, well, what? So he's like, you're not going to thank us for, crashing our wedding or being a part of it. And she's like, thank you for letting me be a part of it, right? I'm eternally grateful. So then he leaves to just get ready, right? And Sarah apologizes for Xander's reaction and she's like, no, it's fine. So they're getting ready for the wedding, right? So we see Justin come downstairs and Alex is down there, right? So Alex tells Justin that Teresa is fine with him officiating, and Justin's like, great. So Alex says that, Victor would really be happy for us getting along and coming together, and Justin's like, no disrespect to the dead, but I really don't care what this man would want, right? So Alex is like, I know you're upset and still hurt about what happened, but in his defense, like, he was just trying to make up in the last part. He's like, and Justin doesn't want to hear none of that. Justin is like, what he did was wrong. Like, for all these years I've been raising you as my son, and just to get robbed of it or to hear about it in a will, he could have told me this when he was alive. So I really don't care. So, he's really hurt about it. And Alex just does not seem to understand the level of hurt that Justin is going through. And Alex is like, can't be disrespecting him in his house and all of that. And he's like, he's still my father. And then Justin just blurts out like, but he robbed me of my son. Like, at the end of the day, Alex is still like a son to him. So he's really hurt about it. And Alex still doesn't understand. You can really feel the emotion in this scene between the two of them. It was just like one of those episodes. I think it was on the 3rd of July. I did an episode recap. And that scene was really powerful between those two actors. So, yeah, I could definitely feel the hurt. So we move on to the next scene, right? So we see Brady come home, right? And, Brady's still thinking about the conversation that he and Teresa had. And he's just like, how should I even have feelings for her, right? Like, we always are not good for each other. We always end up in a disaster. So he's just hurt and, emotional about all of it all. And he starts looking for something to drink. He finds a bottle of liquor there. And I don't know if he's going to really do it. I hope somebody stops him because he's an addict. He doesn't need to be doing that. This girl ain't good for you to be doing all this, Brady. Come on, get yourself together. So we see Bonnie come over with gifts and things to get the girls ready for their wedding day, right? And before Sarah said that she's going to go for a shower, right? So before she went for the shower, Bonnie stops her and said, Sarah, there's something I need to tell you. Maybe she's going to tell her about her actually mailing the envelope off to Xander, right? Xander's mom, right? So she proceeds to tell Sarah that, the envelope that you threw away in the garbage bin, I actually took it up and mailed it. So Sarah is confused, like, what envelope? I didn't throw away none of the invitations. So that is where we see. So Teresa has this look on her face like, oops, like, I thought this was over. Like, how is this going to end? So she is definitely shocked. Like, oh my God, this is going to go down. This wedding is going to go down. So anyways, guys, this is today's episode recap. I will see you for an all new episode recap tomorrow. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.